All right, Mary, what do you think? Should we get started?
I am so excited. I think we have to. I'm ready.
Let's do it. For everyone that's joining us, thanks so much. To kick us off, I'd love to actually learn where you're all joining from. So if you want to and are interested, throw in the chat where you're joining us from. If you want to share a company, that's great too, but no requirements. I love to see, this global group that we've established here. Hawaii, oh, that sounds beautiful. Sao Paulo.
Wow.
California with me. I'm also in California. Got
I'm
some
seeing Quebec with me.
Quebec. All right, so we've got some local folks for us. All right, so let's dive in. Thank you again for joining our Year in Review 2024 webinar, where we're going to go through some of the key product updates and company highlights that we've are really proud of this year. First and foremost, let's introduce ourselves. So my name is Doug Roberge. I'm the Director of Product Marketing here at MaintainX. I've been here for about a year and a half, and I've been working really closely with our product and go-to-market teams on many of these features. So very excited to show them off to you today. And I'm joined here by Mary, who I'll let do an introduction as well.
Hi, folks. Yes, if we haven't met before, my name is Mary. I'm an Enterprise Customer Success Manager here at MaintainX, which essentially means it's my role to make sure the system is working the way you want it to and bringing value to everything you do. So I am fairly certain a lot of you on this call I will have worked with before. So great to see you guys. And if I haven't worked with you yet, I'm excited to do so in the future. And for today, super excited to show you all of the amazing things we've been working on in 2024, some of which you may know and some of which may surprise you.
Indeed. Okay, so let's start with a few housekeeping items, common questions that we get that we'll get ahead of right now. First is, are we recording this? Yes, absolutely. We are recording this webinar, and we will be sending a copy to you after the webinar is completed, aiming for December 9th. And if you have questions throughout the webinar, you can submit them in the chat, which we will be monitoring, and also through the Q&A section of the Zoom console. So if you look down at the bottom of your screen, you'll see a little Q&A. We'll be monitoring both and answering questions throughout. We've got a lovely team of MaintainX folks here dedicated to responding and answering to questions that come up throughout the webinar. And to make sure we're all engaged, to make sure we're all present here, I'm very curious about what your biggest priority is going into 2025. You should see a survey pop up on your screen very soon. And there's a variety of items here. Improving work order tracking, managing critical parts, and other. If you have other, drop it in the chat because we're always interested in your feedback. And while we are kind of recording these answers, I'm going to throw it back to Mary. Mary, you work with customers day in and day out. What's your guess? What do you think people are most interested or their biggest priority is going into 2025?
You know, what I like is that we have a whole lot of variety. Every customer I work with says something slightly different what your priority is. But I think a big one on the top of everyone's mind right now is reducing that equipment failure across the board. We want to make ourselves look great by having our equipment up and running, and that kind of feeds into everything else, doesn't it? Reducing those costs, making us more efficient, all of that good stuff. So I'm going to place my bet and my personal area of interest on reducing equipment failure.
Mm,
Mm.
a good thing. So I think we probably have quite a few folks answers in, and I think you might also be seeing the results now. So the number one item at 46%, this was a multiple select, is improving work order tracking and execution. And Mary, you did pretty well. You picked the second place option,
Second place.
which is reducing equipment failure. We also have a variety of folks wanting to manage critical parts, advanced digital transformation, a lot of which we will cover today. We've made some big strides here, but more to come. All right, thank you all for indulging us in that. It's really great to know where your priorities lie. It actually helps us customize some of the content that we'll be covering today, which leads us here. What are we covering today? We'll hit on company highlights, product highlights, including a few feature deep dives from some of our most used features of 2024. And we'll even give you a sneak peek at a few items on the 2025 roadmap. That is your perk from joining today. Mary, are you excited to get going?
I'm so excited, Doug. I can barely contain
I can
it.
barely contain it too. All right, let's do this. Let's start with company updates. These are MaintainX updates that help us build new products faster and deliver a better customer experience for you all. So most of you have seen this slide in one form and another, but for the new folks, the folks that are less familiar with MaintainX in the room, at MaintainX, our mission is to equip frontline professionals and maintenance teams with modern tools that really help them streamline maintenance, maximize equipment uptime, and drive operational excellence. In short, we really want to deliver a product that helps keep your equipment online and makes your day-to-day operations smoother. Doesn't that sound wonderful? And today, I'm very proud to say that we support many of you in this room. That, as a marketer, gives me a ton of pride to see the folks across the globe representing multiple different companies here today. Also, a highlight, in 2024, we grew to now support 10,000 other global companies, a milestone that we recently passed. And this represents 750,000 users, 41 million work orders, and over 5 million assets loaded into the MaintainX platform. And thanks in large part to y'all's support, our team has doubled in size this year with a large focus on R&D, research and development, and customer experience. For customer experience specifically, we now offer 24/7 customer support, so you can get help when and where you need it. We debuted our new customer community. There's going to be a link showing up in chat if any of you are interested in checking that out after the webinar. And we've also massively enhanced our customer education and help center content, including a number of step-by-step training videos detailing how to use our platform. The TLDR here is we're investing in your success because your success on our platform is what drives our success as a business. And for research and development, our engineering team has been very busy delivering on customer requests and platform enhancements. This year, we've released over 140 new or improved desktop features and over 40 mobile releases. And I want to give a big shout out to you all. Thank you, because you've supplied the feedback that precipitated many of these releases. And I'm really proud to say that because of these enhancements, our customers have been able to achieve some amazing results across the board. They've been able to decrease downtime, repair their assets faster, reduce costs, and make sure their operations stay compliant and their frontline workers stay safe, which at the end of the day is the most important thing that we can do. All right, so that's it for the company highlights. Now, I'm sure the section that you all are most excited for is a look back into the biggest and most impactful features of 2024. Everything we cover is really aligned to our key goal of helping you build a data-driven future for your teams that helps you drive unplanned equipment and regulatory downtime to zero. In 2024, there was really three key themes that we focused on, again, precipitated by a lot of the feedback that you shared with our team throughout the year. The first is modern asset management. So building on our existing product capabilities to ensure that you can maximize equipment uptime and also generate useful and actionable data from the assets on your shop floor, but all with those high MaintainX usability standards that you've come to expect from us. Second, we're focusing on making it even easier for you to plan, assign, and execute on work. And we do that by delivering the best and simplest technician experience. We frankly and totally believe that the technicians, and many of you are on the call, are now powered by supercomputers that live in our pockets. And so each and every technician has the ability to transform into a knowledge worker, accessing a ton of data to improve how they're executing on their day-to-day work, And we're also helping that process by the power of AI that's being woven into various parts of our platform to streamline that work, make sure it's accurate, make sure it's completed right first time. Third is that making sure that you have a standardized and accessible data to drive your decision making. That includes all the sensors that you might be collecting data from, to PLCs, SCADAs, and more. Really making sure that every piece of data that can help you make better decisions, manage your assets more effectively, and complete work on time and correctly is available at your fingertips. And across all of this, we're keeping our product fundamentals in mind. We're designing for technicians who rely on a strong and performant mobile experience. We're making sure that everything we build is API powered and extensible. And then also making sure that what we deliver is fully configurable, because we know that each person on this call, each facility, each company is different and has slightly different needs. And we want to make sure our platform can deliver on the needs of our customers, each and every one of them, individually. I'm going to now pass it over to Mary to talk through our first focus area, modern asset management.
Brilliant. Let's get right into it, folks. I know a lot of you are very interested in this. So, starting out with our modern asset management, the first feature I would like to talk to you about today is our streamlined downtime tracking. I know this was major. I worked with so many of you when we released these updates throughout the year. So, I'm really happy we could bring this to you. Realistically, it's quite hard to track your downtimes. It wasn't used to be an easy thing to do. Now what we've done is we've made it easier for you to record your asset statuses, be it online, be it offline, be it a custom code, whatever it is. We've made that accessible in a work order, a request, in an asset, or even by connecting it to the machine itself. And why have we done that? Well, we did that because we want to make sure you're able to improve reliability and to make smarter budget decisions with real-time insights into asset health, availability, failure causes, and more. So let's dig into that a little bit. Improve reliability. If you want to decrease those downtimes, that's going to increase our profit right there. We want to empower you to make smarter budget decisions. We know belts are being tightened across the board. We want to make sure you can do even more with less. And of course, we want to help you reinforce and strengthen your maintenance program with insights into all these things listed here: your asset availability, your downtime, your planned and unplanned maintenance. We want you to be able to have all the information in one place to be able to run those root cause analyses and make sure everything's running as it should. One of the biggest buzzwords I think we heard all year was OEE. OEE this, OEE that, OEE everything, right? So we want to make sure we are maximizing on our portion of that, which is keeping that asset availability high. So with our features released this year, you're able to do so. And I hope you've already started using them and gaining some of those benefits. Moving on to our next point here, very related, we want to make sure you can gain full visibility on your factory floor. Or, if we're not in manufacturing, wherever your floor may be. We want to make sure you can improve your visibility with visualized asset hierarchy. For those who don't know, used to be just two levels of subdivision, right? You have your asset and your child asset underneath it. Now what we've done is we've extended the available asset hierarchy to support multi-layer parent-child relationships. How many? Up to 5. You can have 5 levels of division there. Now, what does that help with exactly? Well, it helps you to pinpoint failures. It might not be that whole asset is down, it might be a small component of it. Now you're able to do that and really drill in. You know when your potential failures may be coming. You know which component is affected. You're also able to determine, is this specific section critical? If this is down, is our whole line down? Or do we have some flexibility there? This is going to enable you to minimize that downtime and again, improve reliability. It's giving you more information at your fingertips and more actionable insights from the specificity of that recording there. Again, up to 5 levels. Very excited about that. So let's recap real quick. We've made sure that you're able to record your downtimes. We've made sure we've got that information in, and we've made sure that we can record where it is. But wouldn't it be great if we could just stop that happening at all? If we could have, a little ping before something goes wrong. Well, that's what we're talking about here. Get alerts when problems are detected. Minimize your downtime with AI-powered anomaly detection. So as we pull that information in from meter readings, be it automatic, be it manual as you're putting it in, MaintainX is going to notify you if we're putting in an anomalous data. Now, if you're like me, and as if you've been on my webinars before, you know, typing is not always the easiest thing. It's going to let you know if you've made a mistake, right? If there's a decimal point in the wrong place. That's going to stop us from doing unnecessary work, triggering a corrective action, triggering work to be done, taking someone's time. What it's also going to help with is say that is a real anomaly. Say that's genuine data there. Well, we want to go and check that out before the machine actually goes down. So yes, you will be able to be pinged for this and go check it out before we actually encounter that downtime. Very exciting for a lot of us, I know. I think those three things go hand in hand. So with all of them together, we're improving that asset management. And I'll hand back over to Doug for some smart work execution.
Amazing. And what I love about some of the products and features that you just covered is it's actually really aligned to the two most important priorities that many of you mentioned today, work order creation and execution and downtime prevention. So this is great. This is, again, another example of your feedback driving our product reality. So I'm excited to hear that alignment there. The next category, as Mary said, is work execution. So here are some of the 2024 features we released to help you and your teams be even more efficient with, you guessed it, data. So AI-powered procedure generation. While it's not a contest, this perhaps wins the coolest feature award for the year, which I just made up right now. This feature, shipped earlier this year, helps you accelerate your digital transformation, another item on that list that many of you selected, by eliminating the really time-intensive and laborious work of digitizing those massive OEM-provided asset manuals or printed standard operating procedures that might be collecting dust on a file cabinet or on a stack of paper in a desk somewhere. With this new feature, you can simply upload a photo of the asset or asset manual, provide a few prompts, and then our Gen AI will actually do the digitizing for you. The results are delivered in a format that's editable, so you can make sure it meets your specific needs. You all know best about what procedures, what intricacies your machines might have. So we want to make sure you can customize those outputs. And as of this year, this feature is now available on both desktop and mobile. So you can both do it when you're sitting down, kind of looking at MaintainX overall, or directly in the field from your mobile device. And in addition to everything that I just mentioned it can do for you, digitization, standardization procedures, really making that push from offline to online, it's also just really cool. A must try if you haven't used it already. And now, once you've digitized your procedures, either via AI or the good old-fashioned way, you can ensure that they can be shared and used across all of your sites. One of the things that we've heard a lot of our customers talk about is wanting to make sure they're instilling consistent and standardized practices across each of their sites. And because some of those sites operate maybe independently, this is a really hard task. How do you get 10, 20, 100 sites with similar assets to operate in the same way? Well, global procedures was our answer to this big problem that you presented to us. Also released this year, this lets you update and share MaintainX procedures in real time with all of your sites. So you can keep everyone on the same page, following the right steps, and making sure they're staying compliant with any local or national regulations. And I think this is super important because it helps drive, as I mentioned, company-wide standardization. It can improve technicians' safety and compliance by making sure that as things change from a compliance perspective, you can get that information out to your folks as quickly as possible. And it also makes sure that you're getting consistent data from your sites because each site is following the same process, experiencing the same things. So you, maybe if you have purview over multiple sites, can start comparing and contrasting what's working well here and maybe not working as well there. So you can make some better data-driven decisions around how you can make your frontline team more productive and more consistent. And then in addition to sharing procedures globally, we now also make it much easier for you to keep track of your spare parts inventory, not just at one site, but across your sites. With global parts, a sister to global procedures, you can now view and share parts inventory across your various facilities to keep your assets up and running. This helps you prevent overstocking, so not carrying too much of those expensive spares, and then reducing expensive rush order on critical parts. So say if a machine goes down, you need a small motor, you don't have any in stock. You can actually now look at other facilities in your network to see if they might have the part on hand, and then initiate a transfer request. So that motor can then be shifted to the facility, eliminating an unnecessary purchase and making sure you don't have to rush order something last minute, which can get quite expensive. I love that clients that have used this have already reported that they're seeing reduced vendor fees. They're avoiding long lead times on orders that really could delay repairs or delay something coming back online. And then we're also seeing folks just reflect on they're having much better visibility of their inventory across their organization. Where visibility maybe was at one point linked to one site, now you can see parts visibility across multiple sites that you might support. And once your parts and procedures are standardized, visual, digitized, all those good things, we also want to make sure that your technicians are effective as possible. Having the right parts, having the right procedures, that's one step. But there's other things we can do to also make sure they're set up for success. And that's really where MaintainX resource planning comes in. So we can help ensure that your frontline team is productive, right size, and again, set up for success. This feature, which again was launched earlier this year, that's a theme, helps admins really plan, schedule, and reassign their team's work on a single screen so they can quickly balance workloads and then better utilize their labeled resources. So you can see, for example, that John in site A, and maybe they're overbooked. Maybe they have 9 hours of work, but they're only working an 8-hour shift. This is something you might want to move around. And what this does is really make sure that you can, one, maximize and track technician productivity, ensure that you're not overbooking any individuals, or similarly, underbooking any individuals, which can naturally lead to work orders being skipped or rushed or, heaven forbid, maybe pencil whipped a bit. And also analyze if you have the right size team for the tasks at hand. This gives you a much better way to schedule and just make sure you have the right staff for the jobs that you know need to be completed. Last, but certainly not least in this focus area, we have new tools called workflow automations shipped just recently that let you add even more intelligence to the workflows that exist in MaintainX. So with it, you can create really fine-tuned rule-based logic to automate key processes, enable preventive maintenance or usage-based maintenance, and condition-based maintenance rules as well. So what are some examples of this? This could include a number of things like building a custom workflow to have certain characteristics trigger a work order, trigger a purchase order, trigger a notification to an individual that needs to know this information, and so much more. And while this is quite new, in 2025, we'll be rolling out even more automations and even more flexibility in this tool to make sure your operations are running like a well-oiled and lubed machine. Mary, back to you. Want to talk about standardized data foundation?
Oh, I most definitely do want to talk about standardized data foundations. Let's hop right into it. Data is a really, really huge point of everyone's operations, but I think it's also something that can spark a bit of hesitancy or a little bit of fear. And why is that? Well, we know that data is what we need to make good decisions. The best decisions are data-driven decisions. We back up our hunches with real information. But the difficulty with data is that it's coming at you from 17 different sources, and you don't know which to look at where, and then you have to pull them in together and make sense of them, and then you're spending all of your time trying to understand data as opposed to actually doing your job, and your team is spending time manually recording things instead of also going and fixing what needs to be fixed, going and working on what needs to be done. So what we've really thought about here is how can we drive that intelligent decision making? Well, we can use MaintainX as a central hub, right? That's what you guys live in and day out. Now, very common phrase I hear, garbage in, garbage out. We want to make sure we get good data in so that we can make good insights and get good information out. So how do we do that? Well, MaintainX can pull in information from, say, your data historian, your SCADA system, your PLCs, whatever it might be. Pull that information in automatically. We can then have that spit out the relevant work order. You can automate these pulls, right? The pull and then the push, saving you a lot of time, a lot of brain power, and allowing your team to focus in on what they're doing. Now, MaintainX can pull in information from a variety of different sources, right? So I mentioned a few before, those automated readings coming in. You also get the information your team is putting in, day out through those work orders. And we've worked to make sure we have the AI tools available to help you make sense of that data. So when MaintainX becomes the hub of data, what does that really allow us to do? We've saved our time, right, pulling the information together. So how can we actually spend that time now? Well, we can improve our practices, we can improve our reliability, we can improve our PM plans, we can really improve our whole structure. The first point I have here is condition-based maintenance. Now, I've worked with a lot of you on moving from a reactive point to a preventive point, but your condition-based maintenance is what's going to be really, really helpful to make sure that we aren't overutilizing parts, to make sure that we aren't overutilizing labor, and to make sure that we aren't just waiting until something's gone completely wrong. It's giving us that first ping. So this is the way to make sure that you have a maintenance plan that is not only reducing your costs and your downtimes, but making sure that we're maximizing on that efficiency as well. So this is something fairly straightforward. If you already have your sensors and everything set up, easy. Pull it into MaintainX, and again, we set up those triggers with you, and it will push out an alert or push out a work order or push out, an asset status change, whatever you might want it to be. But something I hear a lot and have heard over the last few years from you guys is that the world of sensors can be very complicated, very confusing, very, again, decentralized, which is our point we want to avoid. Good news. You can now retrieve your sensors directly from MaintainX. You can purchase sensors from our team. We will help you get those set up. We have a team set to support them. And the kind of beautiful thing about that is you're getting an all-in-one system from MaintainX, which I know was a driver for a lot of you folks coming here in the first place. From recording that data, pushing it to MaintainX, pushing out that work order, it's now completely centralized and as automated as possible. So if you're interested in those sensors, and I already see a couple of questions popping up in that chat, reach on out to us and we would be happy to discuss them with you. All right, kind of switching up the narrative here a little bit. This is something I've been speaking to people a lot about recently. It's your relationships with your OEMs, right? It's with your equipment manufacturers. We want to make sure there are no barriers there, no barriers in communication. You don't want to call and sit on hold for forever. You want to make sure you're getting the right practices in. You want to make sure you have the right information for your assets, the right PMs for your assets, the right procedures for your assets. On the OEM side, you want to make sure you know how is something running? Is it running well? Does someone need a critical spare? Are they low on that part? So really, we want to make sure each side of the operation has the information that they need and is able to communicate with one another. So what we're providing here, and you can see some really cool screenshots on the right-hand side. I know a lot of you will be excited about this. I sure was to see this. Is kind of how that interface would look between yourself and your OEM. That's going to make sure that you guys are getting what you need from your OEMs. And on the OEM side, it's making sure that you're improving your customer satisfaction and also that longevity and lifespan of your equipment. We're making sure that there is a seamless transition there, front end, back end, every step throughout that chain. We're making sure everyone's getting the information they need and are able to collaborate and communicate in a truly fruitful way. And with that, We're going to move on to our next point. We've covered a lot of information here today, quite a lot. And I've been seeing all those messages come through in the chat. Thank you for engaging and for listening so closely. So now I want to hear it again. I want to hear what feature from the past year we've just discussed, or maybe you have something else. What are you most excited to start using? Feel free to pop your responses in the chat there. I'm intrigued to see what are your favorite pieces? What do we want to start using?
I'm excited for the chat to blow up to see what folks might have been surprised about.
Mm.
AI procedures, I sold it well. Love it. Thank you, Brian.
Oh, I love the variety that we're getting here. These are a range.
A lot of excitement here. Condition monitoring, yes. Asset hierarchy, very exciting. Um, a lot of variety, which makes
Yeah,
me think we've been delivering the products and tools that our customers have been wanting from us.
good job, team. And I just want to highlight to everyone, everyone's needs are so diverse, right? We're so proud to support such a wide range of customers. And this is why when you talk to support, when you talk to your account manager, when you talk to my CSM team, never feel like you're complaining. If you want something that we don't have in MaintainX, we love that feedback. We action that feedback. That's how we drive our product roadmap, how we decide what's going to be important to you. So I want to commend you for attending these sessions and leaving your feedback because that's how we're able to deliver all these wonderful features that you guys are loving.
Yeah, absolutely know that this feedback you're supplying in the chat is going directly to our product team after this call as a kudos for building some of the things that you're very interested in. All right. Thank you, Mary. 2025 look ahead. Now, we don't share this with just everyone, but now that we've covered a few of our product highlights for Q4, it's time for some holiday treats. A sneak peek at our 2025 roadmap. And this is just going to be a few items. There's a lot more and exciting things planned, but let's dive in. Mary's going to take the first one.
I am. We could be here all day if we talked about everything that was planned for 2025. So we picked our favorites and we're leading with something I cannot wait for coming very soon your way. Global asset management. Before Doug gave a wonderful overview of our global procedures and our global parts functionality, well, we're expanding on that. We hear your feedback. Um, I know a lot of you want to be able to take an asset from one location and say, no, this actually has moved to this location. Say it's a fleet vehicle, it moves all the time. Say it's a piece of equipment you're transferring. You want that to go over there and you want your team to know what's been worked on before, what's its history. Well, that's what we're currently developing for you guys, the ability to transfer your equipment inventory across your sites that are using MaintainX. Now, what's helpful about that isn't just the information for the technicians at each site being able to see, okay, I've just received this in, what's been done and what do I need to do? But it's also really helpful from a management or an exec level to be able to see in one place a list of all of your equipment across your sites. That is something a lot of you have requested from me this year. So I'm excited to be able to bring that to you in 2025. It's really going to help you make sure you are keeping up to date on all the equipment that you have and really streamline the management of those pieces as well. So stay tuned for that.
Yes. And in addition to those global assets, we didn't want to give you all these global features without making it really, really easy to report and see what's going on across your organization. So we also, with global dashboards and insights, want to arm you and your team with the right reporting to make cross-site reviews more powerful and more visual. And with it, we'll really be unlocking the ability for you all to compare insights across your sites or orgs in MaintainX. And again, a theme here, unlocking the ability to make data-driven and company-wide decisions on anything from operational improvements, staffing, work order, processes, procedures, or even capital investments. If you're seeing that a certain site and a certain asset is having an unnatural downtime, you can start thinking about, is it time to start the decommissioning process for that asset and maybe look into another one? This is going to give you a lot more insight into what's happening across your organization, and it builds on the already robust reporting that we have accessible to you in our platform today. Now, Mary, I know you're really excited about this next one. You can see the excitement on her face.
Oh, you have no idea how excited I am about this one. I've been requesting this one for a while. I have been keeping myself up to date with the development here. Everyone, I'm really pleased to let you know that we will be releasing inventory cycle counts. Yes. I know the vast majority of you keep on track of your critical spares using cycle counts, right? So batch counting. And this is going to make it a whole lot easier. We have had workarounds in the past, but it's still some manual work, and we thought that's maybe one too many clicks to be a MaintainX product. We want to make everything easy to do and streamlined and simple. We hear those words 10 times a day. So here within cycle counts, you're going to be able to customize your cycle counts based on location, based on your part type, your turnover, the time period, and you're going to be able to report on this in real time as well. So think of it this way. It's time to do our cycle count for group A of our assets. All right. One pops up. Your technician just has to put in the amount that they've counted, and then they move on to the next one, the amount they've counted, onto the next one. They won't have to enter into and out of parts. It's going to transfer them one to the next. And what's amazing about that is the system can do the math for you on how many are added or removed at that time. Your admins can review it and see if it's going to be something they are pushing through. So it's really giving you the tools that you need there to be able to do your inventory cycle counts in a streamlined and efficient way. I'm really excited to bring this to you, and when we release it, really excited to hear your feedback on it as well. I know this is something that is going to be so widely adopted across the board.
Absolutely. I've heard this be kind of one of the number one feature requests that we've received. So very excited to bring it into reality very soon.
It was certainly mine. My number one.
You are, a crusader for our customer needs. We love To close us out for today, we'll be covering what upcoming AI enhancements we'll be unveiling fairly shortly. So we've talked a lot about data today. It's something that I know that's top of mind for a lot of you, and we want to make it easier for you to access and trust the data that's going to push your company forward, whether that's making work easier to do by getting the right work history, instructions, or making it easier to dive into reporting and say, I need to learn about what work has occurred here between these dates. So what we'll be working on is an AI-powered assistant that's trained on your asset manuals and work order history, trained only on your data set and not available to others, that's built to support both managers and your frontline technicians. So what you can see here on the slide is with a few simple prompts, similar to what you might have used if you've experimented with something like ChatGPT, a text-based interface, you'll get smart recommendations back. And that could be anything from new maintenance procedures, additional parts that you should add to a work order, additional tools that you should bring to any job. So you're not bringing your 100-pound toolkit to every job, and then tips on how to fix recurring issues on your assets that may have happened in the past, but maybe have not been documented into a work order template yet. It could also include, as I mentioned, a deep dive in searches for past work, order history, trends, and so much more. We're so excited to have folks start trying this out. If you're currently an enterprise plan customer and are interested in participating in the beta, please reach out to your account team for access. Space is limited, so we can't confirm that everyone will be able to join the beta, but it can't hurt to ask. And this is something that our team is very, very excited about. Thank you so much for joining us today. I know that was just a very small subset of some of the key features that we released in 2024. As you saw earlier, there was over 180 releases this year, far too much, for a 45-minute webinar. But we tried to highlight some of the things that we were most excited about, and again, that we saw customers really gravitate towards this year.
Absolutely. And if you've made it this far, I have a special treat for you. I know one of the main things folks were interested in this year is AI. We hear AI everywhere. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? How can we use it? How can we harness it? And I hope we showed a few tools there with MaintainX that can help with this. We've also written an entire paper on AI for maintenance teams. It is an incredible read. It gives so much information. I think it would be of interest to a lot of you. So we are going to drop that link in the chat now. If you would like to read it, go ahead and click there, access it, and have a look if you want to learn more about the world of AI. Then a wrap up from me here. I just want to say, I want to take a little pause and say how proud I am to work for MaintainX and to be here and to be able to present this for you today. Our team is so dedicated to making sure we have a truly world-class product that is the very best at what it does, at taking your feedback, rolling out these updates, making sure you're having the very best customer experience from our product team to our customer success team, our support team, our integrations team. Everyone works really hard to make sure this works well for you. And we so appreciate your attendance at these sessions, your participation in all of our feedback drives and everything you do within the platform. So it's been a really great year. We can't wait for 2025. And a final request from me, you're going to be receiving a little survey. It's going to pop up on your screen after we end this call. Please do leave your feedback in there. Doug and I would love to hear your points. It really helps us make sure we can guide this program for the next year as well. So once again, thank you so much for attending. It's been a pleasure. Can't wait to see what we all do in 2025.
Enjoy your holidays.